back to another winter outlook and discussion for today, November 17th. We're going to be taking a look at a lot of moving parts going on across the United States, as now the Northeast is looking more and more likely for some snow and colder temperatures, and a dumping of snow back into North Dakota and South Dakota and a little bit of Michigan, with some severe weather tonight across Texas and Oklahoma. So we're going to be taking a look at everything tonight and really having a detailed update. So thank you guys for all of the support on my last few videos. Please tell me what I should continue to change and work on. I really appreciate all the comments I've gotten and all the views and just all the support on this channel in the last few weeks. I really appreciate that. It tells me you guys are enjoying it and telling me what I'm doing different is working out right. So if you guys have any suggestions or anything, please let me know in the comments below. So let's get right into this one. We have now the satellite imagery, and we have our first storm system developing here, with a low back into Texas and the Four Corners. And we got some severe weather in that southwest movement, causing some rising moisture and motion that could even cause some tornadoes, even into Oklahoma. And this storm system is going to be on its way of moving through Texas, moving like this through here, and then getting sprawled back in here, and then just dissipating, something like this. And that's going to bring a dumping of snow probably across back in here, quite a bit of snow right in through here. And I would say anywhere from about 6 to 8 inches. I'm looking at potentially 6 to 8 inches up here. Then we got the severe weather going on down here, and we got just a lot of moving parts, and this is just one part of a bigger picture that it shows. All right, so what I'm trying to say is this is how the pattern is technically. So if we take a look of how I have this, do not mind the Arctic blast. I'm not trying to make it sound dramatic. All I'm gonna say, colder air. All right, it's gonna be colder air coming in. It's coming from Canada, so it's not an Arctic blast, but I just call it to make it sound a little bit just easier and better. Then in the two spots here in the blues, I do have thumping of snow across the Northeast and the mountain regions of the Northeast. And even in that green, some lighter rains and even moderate rains, as we have two systems. Once again, one developing back here. That's going to be causing the severe weather today and tomorrow. We're going to be taking a look at that. And then the dumping of snow here. And then this is a separate system that we're going to be taking a look at too. All right. So as we start taking a look at some moving parts here, we got the icon model. We're going to take a look at about 4 models and really take a detailed look. So you can kind of see our storm system developing in Texas and really causing some heavy rain and severe weather. You can tell with these reds. And you know, this is going to be bringing some severe weather tomorrow too, into the afternoon. And this is going to be a deepening low here. We are at a 986 down here across Kansas. And then you can tell our colder shot of air. So we got, once again, high pressure here, kind of bringing that colder air into the Northeast and then wrapping around and bringing that warm air into this warm front slash cold front. So this will be the warm front, this will be the cold front, and you know, just all the moving parts. Then we got our cold shot right back in here, bringing some mountain snows. This is going to be moving like this, and this is what's going to meet up and cause some thumping of snow once again that I keep saying across North Dakota. All right, so we take this out for the next little bit. You can kind of tell we get some moisture, maybe starts out some rain, but as that colder air comes in, we get that thumping of snow potentially. Icon's a little bit more warmer. It's a little bit more of that warm bias. And you can tell some showers and thunderstorms goes through Florida, Georgia, Mississippi, Alabama, New Orleans, Louisiana. New Orleans just the city. But you can tell, and then some showers here. This low continues to move on. We see that blast of colder air. And you can already tell our next big storm system back in here, very tight isobars probably in the 970s, 960s. This is around November 19th. All right, so that dumping of snow and that severe weathers for today, tomorrow, that dumping of snow would be most likely tomorrow night into Tuesday. Then we kind of see this dissipate. We see that cold air coming, and then we can see the leftover that cold front kind of develops here, and this one really drags that colder air through here. And let me just change my marker into that pink here. Now we can kind of see this a little bit better. We see that colder air coming right behind here with that moisture, and we got some strong northwest winds here too. So that's gonna be lower temperatures. 9 times most likely seeing some snow in the higher elevations too. All right, this is about in 3 days from now. So about Tuesday night into Wednesday Wednesday afternoon. We see this low continue to develop. This, on the icon, has a very strong low back into the Great Lakes, a little bit different than the other models, and kind of keeps a little bit more of the warm bias. Then we can kind of see a low develops and that colder air catches up. Why does that do that? Number one, it's nighttime. It's around 4 a.m. So this is usually as the cold air is coming in, where it's nighttime. So you can tell we do get some mountain snows and some lighter snows here. And this will most likely be a very strong northwest wind. And then we start seeing another low develop here. So 2 lows here. And you kind of start really seeing that northwest flow really be kicking in and really dropping those temperatures. So most likely, heavier the precip, we're going to have that dynamic cooling. That's when the precip is falling and up in the atmosphere it's colder. And then you kind of see some back and snow in that little front. The low never really develops on the icon, that secondary, but we still see thumping of snow throughout Ohio, the Chicago region, western Pennsylvania, the Great Lakes. And this kind of just continues to move, and it's going to be very gusty, very windy, pretty chilly. Daytime highs probably in the 40s, and with that wind feeling like in the upper 30s. So it's definitely going to be feeling like winter. And then as we continue to go, the storm system continues to move on. And then whatever after that, we just don't know yet. So the total rainfall out of this, anywhere from 2 to 4 inches is most likely in those heavier showers and thunderstorms and those heavier pockets of rain. Total snowfall on the icon, you can tell we do see a few inches back here in western Pennsylvania, even central Pennsylvania, the mountains like Mount Pocono, Scranton, the mountains of New York, Vermont, even a few inches. And then that dumping of snow anywhere from about 2 to 4 inches on the icon. Once again, I say icon's a little bit more of that warm bias. The other models are much, I will say, a bit more bullish. Like, for one reason is the Canadian. All right, let's replay this. Let's go. We see that severe weather. We see that low develop here. Once again, we see this cold shot right here. We even see some wintry mixes in the far regions of the west of the system. And we kind of see this system develop into, once again, that thumping of snow, a bit more aggressive, once again, and colder bias. Not colder bias, just a little bit more colder. And I can see definitely these models being more right because the icon has always been that warm bias. It's not meant for the winter. It's just kind of another UK Met model. So you kind of see a little bit more heavier snows, stronger winds. The leftover severe weather events kind of done, and we kind of just here with some heavier rains. This could probably drop once again 2 to 4 inches of rain. We'll be checking that with the Canadian model, and you really do see this system get very strong, 980s here, and we see that dumping of snow a little bit more further south. We got our next system out in the west, could be bringing some heavy snows and heavy rains, like I was forecasting this winter, a lot of storms like that. Then the Canadian has once again that system wrapping up, but then that coastal low actually wraps up deeper. So the difference is, instead of this being deeper, this one kind of starts dying, and yes, it reinforces that cold air, and you can see all these snow bands and showers and late effect snow. But then we get a coastal low here. So with that rain, that's going to be transitioning into this is about 7 a.m. at night. So this could be definitely turning into snow. We're going to have to watch the models. It's still about 4 days out. So things can change even colder or warmer. And then you can see some in the Northeast, some mountain dumping of snow. Once again, that dynamic cooling throughout the day. And depends on that colder air and how much precip. And then we can kind of see that stall, and we can even see some snow throughout the nights with that strong northwest winds. We're going to be seeing very cold temperatures, all right? Very cold temperatures. We'll be taking a look at the temperature department very shortly. And you can kind of see that strong northwest winds, probably up to 40, 50 miles an hour. So definitely one of those days feeling like winter. And you can see that just stall. A lot of precip, and just all depends on the temperatures too, and some gusty winds that kind of moves on, and still late effect snow all the way out here. And then next system we just don't know. It could be like a cold front, it could be all I'm gonna say is whatever comes next, it could be even colder. So transition from fall to winter is definitely on its way, and I can really back that up on a lot of the models too. Been much more consistent. It's just been consistent. That's why I kind of took a day back. I was pretty busy, so I was like, let me just post a video tonight. Everybody sees it, and we'll just go with there. Then you can kind of see as the storm system comes, yeah, much colder. Even the night times in the 30s, definitely in the mountains. Average in the daytimes, I mean, we only see up to 40 on some of those days. So much colder. We see that below 30, but we really don't see those warm temperatures. We really struggle to even get into the 50s. And even by that, you're not going to get into 50s in a lot of parts. But 9 times much colder, and you can tell a much more cold model. And you can really see the cold air, 5 degrees, even 0 degrees. So that's why I'm calling it Arctic blast. We're going to be seeing some very cold temperatures going out here. All right. We look at the total snowfall here on the Canadian, and I would say it's pretty good. You see that once again, 6 to 8, maybe up to even 12 inches locally. That's why I put that out there in the beginning. Mountain snow, 6 to 8 inches in the peaks. Outside of that, 1 to 3 inches. Okay, maybe even 2 to 4 closer to the mountains. Total rainfall here as we look, kind of just, at 2 to 4 inches, maybe that little bit heavier rain towards the south here, like Louisiana area, New Orleans, 2 to 4 inches. So that's very interesting. Then we look at the GFS here, and then we'll be taking a look at the Euro, and you kind of see the latest GFS here has that dumping of snow, a little bit more north, I would say, a little bit more north, about the same. And then we kind of see that front comes in much more weaker, and we get a coastal low to develop faster. Kind of see once again that mountain snow potentially, some lighter rains, a little bit different on the GFS than the other models. We still got that cold air, and then we actually see that low deepen just like the Euro, and we get some pretty cool. We get a much more colder storm system. We actually see some accumulating snow. This is probably the coldest and snowiest on the GFS I've seen it in the last since this whole thing. You can see much more snow for northern Pennsylvania. Look at that, much more. This I can definitely see with how strong the low will be, about a 990, 980s, and then that strong northwest wind, 50 miles an hour. You can definitely see late effect snow coming off these lakes and stuff. And it's going to be very interesting. Much colder pattern. This will be much colder. And even that next system, once again, like the Canadian was saying, maybe if this tracks a little bit more south, we still see that cold air. Just a much colder storm. And we can even, why not? Take this all for granted once we go past this point. But a much colder storms here. Besides this front here, we see a lot of cold air. We even see a snowstorm trying to develop. You see just a much colder pattern and a lot more storm systems likely to come. Alright. Take that for bias. It changes every run. Alright. We look at the temperature department on the GFS here, and you can really look at this and be like, wow, much colder. We see this system much colder in the 30s in the daytimes instead of the 40s, and even in the daytimes after that, just in the low 40s. I really don't see that much of a warm besides even this cold front. But even in Maine area, you're looking at 1 p.m. It's in the 30s. This could definitely trend more south and be a little bit more different. But look at all this cold air to come towards the end of November, potentially. That is very, very cold air and very impressive. So we're really going to have to take a look at that with the temperatures. We'll probably have once again, this fall part of the pattern change. And we're definitely in the beginning of the making of the new pattern change. Once again, that heavier rain. GFS a little bit more bullish on that rain to the south. Maybe 6 inches locally. I wouldn't be surprised. All right? I wouldn't be surprised. We look at the total snowfall. All right? This is probably the snowiest on all these models. But we see more like 2-4 inches, maybe even in the mountains, much more, even in the late effect snows, 6 to 8 inches. I mean, this is a much colder scenario. And could this happen? Yes. It could even turn even colder. It just all depends on how all the moving parts are. Another model that will back this up is the European. It has trended just like the GFS pretty much. Once again, shows that severe weather for today and tomorrow. We'll take a look more of that in the mesoscales. Let's just get through here. Then we see that dumping of snow. That kind of has shifted a bit more north on the recent runs. So we're going to have to watch that. But still, we still see dumping of snows. Cold front doesn't really show. But we do see that cold front a little bit more south here, the low near the Great Lakes, a little bit more south, but we get that low to develop on the coastal, and you can actually see some pretty heavy thumping of snow back into western Pennsylvania because we got this northwest flow, very strong northwest flow. This is probably 40-50 miles an hour winds. We will definitely be taking a look, more of a look at this, but we see this transition into a lot of snows, and then boom. This is much colder on the Euro than recent runs. And this has trended just like the GFS and even very deep low towards the north. I mean, we have a stalling low in the north. So we got strong northwest winds with a lot of precip blowing across. This could definitely be lake enhancement, but very windy, very cold, and pretty impressive. And then after that, you could kind of see showers, and this just lingers. And just this very cold pattern. And even if we looked at the 12Z, going even outwards into the 384, yes, the Euro has done that. Shows the next door system, yeah, a little bit more south, boom. Still with that bit of that rain, but, much colder pattern. And take this for granted. But the Euro wants a potential snowstorm for the birthday time. For me, my birthday's on November 29th, but there's a chance for a bit of a colder pattern. If everything plans out, we could have a snowstorm. First snowstorm of the year across the Northeast. All right? And even after that, we even see another snow event. So we're really seeing on the models lately a much colder look into the next pattern and looking very good for snow lovers. All right? Take it all for granted, but we are heading in a good direction according to the models. And it's not just one, it's a lot of them. And I'm very proud to say, let's not get our hopes up, but it's looking a bit better than previous hopes. All right. Now I want to take a look at the severe weather here. I know this video is going to be a little bit longer, but we just really have to look at everything here. We kind of see a lot of showers and thunderstorms, and especially with the cold front, some hail, damaging winds, tornado potential, especially in these supercells outwards across Texas and even Oklahoma. We could definitely see, but then it kind of turns into a cold front, and day 2 tomorrow probably a little bit more or less, but heavier rains is definitely possible, right? And total rainfall on these mesoscale models, because the global doesn't do too good, you could definitely see 2 to 4, 3 to 5 inches across Oklahoma, Texas, even Kansas. So that's pretty impressive here. We go even further, especially for Louisiana. Once again, 3 inches, maybe up to 6 inches at max. All right. Another thing I want to look at before we look at some other stuff is the NAM. That's out on 18Z. 0Z is coming out, but I just want to look as 84 hours out and see what it shows. So very interesting. Doesn't go out fully, but we see a deepening low off the coast and here. And look, even cold. It's pretty cold on the NAM. Very strong northwest winds. This will probably spark wind advisories, winter weather advisories, and rain watches. All right, but we'll look at the mesoscales tomorrow, and as the models continue to come in. All right. Let's look at the severe weather outlook quickly. I know I never brought that up, but I'd rather just get it done here. We just look at everything and go through it here. So actually today they did up it to enhanced risk. That's pretty impressive. Enhanced risk now. Probably because of all that stuff. The storm reports, no received storm reports yet. And then tomorrow we see a slight risk once again for Texas, Oklahoma regions. And we kind of see that tornado risk tomorrow, 5%, winds 15%, and hail at 5%. Then we have a day 3, and now we have a marginal risk. I wouldn't be surprised if this goes to a slight. I could definitely see that too. Now one more thing before we go is the watches and warnings. Currently, I haven't looked at this, so nothing really much. I don't see any severe thunderstorm watches or warnings yet, but I do see some wind warnings and wind watches and some flood watches here. But nothing too much yet. This is going to fill up especially for the Northeast, as the storm system gets closer. But that's your latest outlook and discussion for the next storm system. I hope you guys liked and enjoy. Let's have a recap once again. Today, tomorrow, and now I will even put the 19th on Tuesday and Tuesday, potentially severe weather event. All right. Arctic blast is coming in. Once again, not an Arctic blast, more like a colder shot, but you saw those negative temperatures. That's why I'm calling it an Arctic blast 2. That has trended much colder too. Then the 2 areas of thumping snow, and we'll have a new update tomorrow on this. So I hope you guys liked and enjoy, and please subscribe, and please let me know down in the comments below of what you want me to do next. Thank you, and have a great night.